Why does Python say you cannot add a string and a number when both values look like numbers? In this video, we will fix 10 common type conversion mistakes that cause real beginner bugs. You will see the broken code, understand the reason, and learn the clean solution. We start with numeric strings, because data from forms, files, and APIs usually arrives as text. Let's see where that becomes a bug and how to convert it safely. In a checkout flow, a quantity like 3 often arrives from a form as text. We try to add that quantity to the current stock value, then run the script and immediately get a type error. Python sees an integer on one side and a string on the other, so it stops instead of guessing. Let's break down the error. Quotes make quantity a string, even though its contents look numeric. Python will not implicitly turn external text into an integer for arithmetic. Now we fix the bug by converting quantity with int before the addition happens. We run the updated script, and the result is 13. The conversion changes the numeric text into a real integer. Here's the best practice. Convert and validate external input as soon as it enters your program. That keeps the rest of your code working with reliable numeric values instead of mixed types. Imagine a CSV file gives us a product price as the text 19.99. We use int because we want a number, then run the script and get a value error. The decimal point means this text is not in integer format. Let's look at the rule behind this. Int works for text like 19, but not for text with a fractional part like 19.99. The shape of the input tells us which numeric type we need. Now we convert the same text in two valid ways. Float is convenient for general measurements, while decimal preserves decimal values for money. We run the code and both conversions display 19.99. For prices, invoices, and balances, this is the better approach. Use decimal. It avoids the small binary rounding surprises that can appear with float values during financial calculations. Converting a decimal number to an integer is not the same as rounding it. The right choice depends on the business rule behind the calculation. Suppose a delivery job took 2.9 hours and we want to calculate billable hours. We convert the value with int, run the script, and it prints 2. There is no exception, which makes this mistake especially easy to miss. Let's break down why this happened. Int does not round to the closest number, it truncates towards 0 for positive 2.9. That means the 0.9 is simply discarded. Now we compare the available choices instead of relying on int by habit. After running this code, round and seal both give us 3, while floor and truncation give us 2. For billing any started hour, seal is usually the rule that matches the policy. The best practice is to choose truncation, rounding, floor, or sealing deliberately. Write the conversion that expresses the actual business rule, so another developer can see the intent immediately. Boolean conversion has a surprising trap. Python checks whether a string is empty, not whether its text says true or false. That matters a lot for settings and environment variables. A common environment setting is enable items equals false. We pass that text directly to bool, run the script, and Python prints true before enabling notifications. The word looks false to a person, but Python only sees a non-empty string. Let's unpack the difference. Bool checks whether a string has characters, so both true and false are truthy when written as non-empty text. Configuration text needs parsing, not a simple truthiness check. Now we normalize whitespace and letter case, then compare against explicit true and false values. We run the corrected parser with the value false, and it correctly prints false before disabling notifications. Unknown values raise a clear error instead of silently choosing a setting. The best approach for configuration is a small explicit parser like this one. Use it whenever a setting comes from text, and reject values you do not recognize, so a typo cannot quietly change application behavior. Finally, remember that keyboard input is always text in Python. Before comparing it with a number, convert it and handle invalid entries clearly. For an age-restricted page, we ask the visitor to enter an age and then compare it with 18. The visitor enters 21, but when we run the script, Python raises a type error. Input always gives us a string, even when the typed characters look like a number. Let's break down the type mismatch. The value 18 in our condition is an integer, but the entered 21 is the string 21. Python refuses to order those two different types because the comparison would be unclear. Now we convert the input with int inside a try block. If the visitor types invalid text, the except block gives a clear message. Otherwise, the comparison is safe. We enter 21 again, run the fixed version, and access is granted. Here's the best practice. Treat every interactive value as untrusted text until you validate it. Use try and accept around conversions, then show a useful error message or offer the user another attempt. Next, let's look at a common mistake when numbers arrive as comma-separated text. Daily sales can arrive as a single value like 12, 8, and 15 separated by commas. We split the text and pass the result directly to sum, then run the script to see the failure. Python tells us it cannot add a number and a string together. Now let's fix the calculation by converting each split value with int before adding anything. We build a numeric list, run the script again, and the total is now 35. Let's break down why this works. Split returns text fragments, while the list comprehension turns each fragment into an integer. Once every element is numeric, sum can safely calculate the total. Now let's show the best practice. Inspect the types inside parsed collections before you calculate with them. Use this whenever data comes from command line input, CSV files, forms, or APIs. Now let's see why converting text with list can produce a surprising result. Suppose an article form gives us Python, testing, and API as one tag field. We call list on that string and run it expecting tags but getting individual characters instead. That happens because a string is already iterable character by character. Now let's fix the parser for comma-separated tags. We split on commas and strip the spaces around each value, then run the code to get a clean tag list. Let's break down why the corrected version works. Split uses the commas as boundaries, and strip removes optional surrounding white space. The result contains complete tag names instead of individual letters. Now let's show the best practice. Use the parser that matches your input format. Choose split for simple delimited text, and reserve list for cases where character-by-character iteration is actually what you want. Next, let's protect identifiers whose digits are meaningful formatting, not quantities. A spreadsheet may contain an employee ID such as 00127. We convert it to int and run the script, but the leading zeros disappear because Python now treats it as a quantity. The output is 127, which is no longer the same displayed ID. Now let's fix this by keeping the ID as a string. We validate that it contains only digits and has the expected 5-character length, then print the original text unchanged. Let's break down the key idea. An identifier may look numeric, but we do not add or subtract employee IDs. Keeping it as text preserves its formatting while still allowing validation. Now let's show the best practice. Store identifiers as strings unless you genuinely need arithmetic. Apply this rule to IDs, zip codes, phone numbers, account numbers, and similar formatted values. Now let's handle byte data correctly when text comes from an external system. Imagine an API returns a customer name as UTF-8 bytes. We try decoding those bytes with ASCII and run the script, which raises a Unicode decode error. ASCII cannot interpret the byte sequence used for the accented letter in café. Now let's fix the conversion with UTF-8, which is the encoding used by the response. We decode the same bytes, run the script again, and the customer name displays correctly. Let's break down why this works. Bytes are raw data, while strings are decoded text. UTF-8 tells Python how to turn this specific byte sequence back into the intended characters. Now let's show the best practice. Keep data as bytes only at input and output boundaries, and document the encoding at each boundary. In modern APIs, UTF-8 is common, but always verify the source contract. Finally, let's avoid a subtle conversion mistake that matters whenever money is involved. Invoice amounts often arrive as strings, so it is tempting to convert them with float. We add 0.1 and 0.2, then run the script and get a value with unexpected extra digits. That small difference comes from how binary floating point stores decimal fractions. Now let's fix this for currency by using decimal values created directly from strings. We run the same addition again, and the result is exactly 0.3. Let's break down why decimal is safer for this case. Decimal stores the decimal values you provide instead of binary approximations. That makes it a much better default when invoice totals and rounding rules matter. Now let's show the best practice. Create money decimals from strings and define your rounding rules deliberately. Never build a money decimal from a float because the float may already contain an approximation. Now you know how to spot and prevent Python type conversion bugs before they slow down your project. Like and subscribe for more real Python mistakes explained through code. Tell me in the comments which Python error you want us to debug next.